Are you feeling stuck in your job? Working every day but feeling unfulfilled, like there's something more you're supposed to be doing? In this message, we're going to uncover the truth your job is not your work. We're going to discover why so many people feel misplaced in life and how to break free by finding your true calling. Every human being was created with a specific assignment. You were not born to do a job. You were born to complete a work. The tragedy of life is not death. It is life without purpose. Today, we're going to tear down the myth that your job is your identity. And by the end of this message, I believe you will walk away not only knowing the difference, but also stepping into your true calling. Let me tell you something that might shake your whole foundation. Your job is not your work. You need to pause and let that settle in your spirit. Because for most people, their identity is trapped in their occupation. What do you do? That's the question people ask. And without thinking, we answer with a job title. I'm a teacher. I'm an accountant. I'm a mechanic. 9.
I'm a manager.
But those are roles. They are not reasons. They are functions. They are not fulfillment. See, the problem is we've allowed the system of this world to define who we are by what we get paid to do. But God never created you for a job. He created you for work. That means your real purpose is not tied to a company or a paycheck. It's tied to your Creator. Now listen carefully. A job is what you were trained to do. It's what you went to school for. It's what someone hired you for. But your work is what you were born to do. And there's a major difference between those two. Your job can change, your job can be taken away, your job can end. But your work, that's eternal. That was built into you before your first breath. When God created Adam, He didn't give him a job description. He gave him work. He told him to cultivate, to tend, to guard, to multiply. And that word work in Hebrew is ergon. It doesn't just mean labor. It means to become. That's powerful. 9. It means your work that makes you become what you were designed to be. Now don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm saying stop thinking that your job is the full measure of who you are. Because you can be employed and still unemployed. You can be on payroll and still break in your spirit. You can be successful in a position but completely lost in your identity. See, a job is about survival. You do it to make a living. But work, 9 work is about significance. You do it to make a difference. Some of you watching this right now are frustrated, not because your job is bad, but because your spirit knows you were made for more. There's a longing in you, a voice that whispers, this isn't it. That's not confusion, that's calling. That's your work crying out from the inside, saying, you didn't come here just to clock in and die. You came here to leave a mark. Now let me ask you something. If your company let you go tomorrow, would you lose your sense of worth? Would you feel like your life is over? If so, you've built your identity around the wrong thing. Because when you know your work, they can lay you off. They can shut the doors. They can cut the check, but they can't stop your assignment. Your work isn't tied to your employment. It's tied to your essence. And until you know that difference, you'll live your life chasing positions instead of fulfilling purpose. Now, this is why people can have the corner office and still be miserable. Because a title can never replace a calling. It's why someone can retire with a pension and still feel empty. Because they spent 40 years building a career, but never discovered their calling. Let me take it deeper. Your job is where you serve others for income. But your work is where you serve God for impact. Your job gives you benefits, but your work gives you legacy. Your job pays the bills, but your work fulfills your soul. Some of you are in jobs right now that look good on paper, but you cry in the car every morning. You feel out of place. You dread Monday. You live for Friday. You're surviving weekends. 9, not fulfilling purpose. That's because your spirit knows that you're using your gift as a tool when it was meant to be your mission. I want you to understand something profound. Jesus had a job. He was a carpenter. But that was not his work. His work was to redeem humanity, to restore the kingdom, to finish what the Father sent him to do. And he didn't even start his work until he was 30. That tells me that your job might pay you, but your work will fulfill you, even if it starts late. You see, your work is your assignment. Your job is your activity. And the enemy of your soul doesn't mind you working a job as long as you never discover your work. Because once you discover it, you become dangerous. You become unstoppable. You become focused. And that's when things begin to change in your life. That's when you shift from routine to revelation, from existing to impacting, from effort to effectiveness. Let me ask you right now, are you doing what you were trained to do? or what you were created to do? Are you living for a salary? Or are you moving in your assignment? Are you pursuing comfort? Or are you fulfilling your calling? Before you ever had a resume, you had a reason. Before you ever filled out an application, you had an assignment. Before anyone could offer you a position, God had already designed your purpose. That means purpose is not something you find after employment. Purpose is something you bring into it. You are not the result of your job. You are the result of divine intention. You are not here because the company hired you. You are here because heaven sent you. This is the tragedy I see every day. People waiting for the world to tell them who they are. 9, waiting for a title, a salary, a role. And until then, they think they have no value. They say, when I get a better job, I'll feel better. When I get promoted, then I'll know I'm doing something important. But here's the truth. If you didn't have a job tomorrow, you would still have a purpose. Because God never tied your destiny to human approval. I want you to hear this. Adam had purpose before he had a position. In Genesis, God didn't wait for Adam to apply for work. The moment he was created, he was assigned. God said, be fruitful, multiply, subdue the earth, have dominion. That's not employment. That's empowerment. You don't apply for a purpose. You awaken to it. But we've been trained by society to believe that employment is the beginning of value. That your worth increases when your job title gets longer. That your importance grows with your salary. So people live on a hamster wheel, running in circles trying to reach fulfillment through promotion. And yet, even after the promotion comes, they still feel empty. You want to know why? Because no job, no position, no title can satisfy a heart that was created for purpose. The system you work for might give you benefits, but it can't give you meaning. And the moment you confuse your job with your purpose, you make your boss your God. You put your identity in the hands of another human being. And that's dangerous. The job you have might be temporary, but your purpose is eternal. The job can change. The assignment doesn't. Jeremiah 1:5. God says, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Do you understand the power of that? That means you didn't come to earth looking for purpose. You came to earth with it. You were born to fulfill something that already existed. 9, your job didn't create your identity. You're supposed to be a vehicle to express it. But when the vehicle becomes a destination, you lose your sense of direction. Let me tell you what the purpose really is. Purpose is the original reason why something was created. A chair is made to be sat on. A microphone is made to amplify sound. A key is made to unlock sound. And you were made to solve a problem that exists on the earth. You were made to bring something to the world that only you can carry. Your fingerprints are proof that God custom designed you for an assignment nobody else can complete. That means you are not random. You are not a mistake. You are not one of many. You are one. The question is not, what job do I want? The question is, what problem was I born to solve? Because when you find the problem, you'll discover your purpose. And when you walk on purpose, your job becomes just one of many platforms for your calling, not the definition of your identity. You see, when you know your purpose, you stop waiting to be picked. You stop begging to be seen. You stop chasing positions because you realize you are the position. You are the solution wrapped in skin. And wherever you go, you bring value, not because of your resume, but because of your reason for existence. That's why Joseph could go from the pit to Potiphar's house to prison to the palace and still walk in favor. Because purpose was never tied to where he worked. It was tied to who he was. Even in prison, Joseph was on assignment. Even when he was falsely accused, he never lost identity. Because when God gives you purpose, he doesn't revoke it when your environment changes. Some of you are looking at your current job and saying, this can't be it. And you're right. It might not be. But that doesn't mean you're out of purpose. It just means you're in a place of preparation. Because purpose doesn't start when conditions are perfect. Purpose starts the moment you recognize that your life has meaning right where you are. Don't wait for your boss to validate what God has already confirmed. Don't wait for a promotion to prove your significance. When purpose is understood, it transforms how you see your current assignment. You're not just a teacher. You're shaping destinies. You're not just a driver. You're transporting purpose. You're not just working in retail. You're managing trust. You're learning stewardship. You're building systems. The smallest task becomes sacred when it's done with the understanding that God has positioned you there for a reason. Every place you step into is an opportunity to carry your purpose into the environment. not to take on the identity of the environment. So if your job ended tomorrow, your work wouldn't be over. Because purpose doesn't retire. It doesn't expire. It doesn't get downsized. Purpose is who you are before the world tells you who to be. Purpose precedes employment. Let me tell you something that can shift your entire life if you hear it in your spirit. God never hides your purpose. He hides it in you. He doesn't send you into the earth to go searching for it out there. He places a seed inside of you, a deposit, a signature. And that seed is called your gift. Your gift is not something you choose. It's something you carry. It's the natural thing you do that makes a supernatural difference. It's that ability that you didn't learn in school. 9, you didn't get certified in it. You didn't even know it was special until you saw how other people responded to it. Your gift is the clue to your calling. You see, the world has told you to follow your passion. Chase your dream. Go where the money is. But passion fades, dreams can shift, and money comes and goes. But your gift, your true gift, it never leaves. It's not seasonal. It's not fragile. It's permanent. Romans 11:29 says, the gifts and callings of God are without repentance. That means He doesn't take it back. He doesn't change His mind. Even if you've made mistakes, even if you've run from it, even if people tried to bury it, your gift is still alive inside of you. The problem is, most people are trained to ignore their gift. They're told to get a job that pays well, not one that speaks to who they are. They're told to follow the crowd instead of listening to their core. And so they go to school, get degrees, climb ladders, and sit in boardrooms while the thing they were actually born to do lies dormant inside them. Let me ask you something. What do you do effortlessly that other people struggle with? What comes naturally to you but blows people away when you do it? What makes you come alive when you're doing it? So much that you lose track of time. That's a clue. That's your gift showing itself. Your gift isn't just for enjoyment. It's for assignment. It's the tool God gave you to fulfill your purpose. If He created you to build, He gave you the ability to see structures. If He created you to lead, He gave you the ability to inspire. If He created you to create, He gave you the imagination to invent. Your gift is not random. It's precise. It's strategic. It's connected directly to the problem you were sent to solve on the earth. 9. And let me tell you something else, your gift doesn't lie. You might lie to yourself. You might downplay it. You might run from it. But your gift always speaks the truth. That's why even when you're in the wrong job, your gift keeps trying to show up. That's why even when you're operating outside of your lane, people still notice something special about you. Because your gift refuses to be silent, even in an environment that doesn't value it. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. It doesn't say your education makes room for you. It doesn't say your network makes room. It says your gift. That means your gift will open doors your RA some A never could. It will attract people your title never impressed you. It will place you in rooms you don't even qualify for on paper because you were designed for that moment. But here's the key. You must develop your gift. You must cultivate it. You must work at it. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's automatic. God gives the seed, but He expects you to grow it. David had a gift with a slingshot, but he practiced it in the field before he ever faced Goliath. 9, Joseph had a gift for interpreting dreams, but he used it in the prison before it ever elevated him to the palace. Don't despise small places. Don't complain about where you are. Your gift can't grow without use. You don't need a big stage. You just need obedience. If you use what's in your hand, God will open what's in His. Some of you are waiting for your gift to be recognized before you use it. But that's backward. 9. Your gift doesn't get validated before you use it. It gets validated by your use of it. The more you serve with it, the clearer your purpose becomes. The more you move in it, the more people are drawn to it. You don't need to advertise your gift. Just activate it and it will advertise itself. Every major person God used in Scripture was moved by their gift. Moses led, not because of position, but because of a gift for leadership. Esther used her voice, her influence. Solomon ruled with wisdom. Paul wrote with clarity and power. Jesus Himself walked in the ultimate gift, the gift of redemption. And when He ascended, He gave gifts to men. That means He placed something in you for us. 9. There's a reason you don't fit everywhere. There's a reason certain environments feel like a cage. It's not because you're difficult. It's because your gift is too big for small assignments. You're not crazy. You're called. 9. And the frustration you feel is not a curse. It's a clue. Your gift is trying to get your attention. Let me ask you something. What's the real reason you get out of bed in the morning? Is it the alarm clock or is it the assignment? Is it the paycheck or is it the purpose? Because there's a difference between working for a living and living for your work. And one of the greatest lies the world has ever sold us is this, that the more you earn, the more you're free. But real freedom doesn't come from money. It comes from meaning. See, most people don't live. They just exist. They work 5 days just to enjoy 2. They count down to the weekend like it's salvation. And when Monday rolls around, 9, they're back in the cycle, dragging themselves to routines they've come to resent. But they keep going because there's a check. There's insurance. There's a 4-to-1 key. So they stay stuck in systems that feel more like a prison than a platform. And somewhere deep down, they know this can't be what life is about. They look successful on the outside, but on the inside, they're suffocating. The job is paying the bills, but starving the soul. 9, because money can buy you comfort, but it can't give you a calling. It can buy you time off, but it can't give you time back. It can put food on your table, but it can't feed your spirit. Freedom is not the absence of work. It's the presence of purpose. You can be rich and still be a slave. You can be employed and still be empty. Because true liberty is not walking away from a job you hate. It's walking into the reason you were created. That's why Jesus never said, I came to give you a paycheck. He said, I came that you might have life and life more abundantly. And that abundant life is not about possessions. It's about purpose. It's about waking up every day, knowing that what you're doing is connected to why you're alive. Some people think freedom means early retirement. But retirement without purpose is just boredom with a bank account. You were not created to stop. You were created to finish. Jesus said, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. That's fulfillment. It's freedom. And when you live with purpose, you don't work for money. Money works for you. You stop being driven by survival and start being led by assignment. You stop asking, how much will I make? And start asking, who am I becoming? Because a paycheck is too small a reward for your destiny. There's something dangerous about settling for a life that looks good but feels wrong. A life where you have all the things people admire, but none of the joy that matters. You can drive the car, live in the house, wear the suit, and still feel like something's missing. Because what's missing isn't material. It's meaning. You weren't born just to get a job, pay bills, and die. That's not living. That's maintenance. 9. You were born to make an impact. You were sent to earth to fulfill an assignment that only you can fulfill. And if you trade that assignment for a salary, you may profit financially, but lose spiritually. What good is it to gain the whole world and still feel like a stranger in your own life? I've met people who make 6 figures but can't sleep. They've got everything they thought they wanted, but no peace. 9, because deep down they know they left their purpose somewhere along the way. Maybe it was the pressure, maybe it was my expectations, maybe it was fear. But now they're trapped in a life that's too expensive to walk away from and too empty to enjoy. 9. Purpose is the only thing that breaks the cycle. When you know your why, your what becomes powerful. You stop just earning a living and start building a legacy. You don't need to escape your life. You start embracing it, even when it's hard, even when the money isn't there yet. Because your fulfillment isn't attached to numbers. It's attached to obedience. That's why some people with less money have more joy. It's not because they're irresponsible. It's because they're in alignment. They may not have it all, but they know they're walking in what they were made for. And that peace, that's priceless. That's the fruit of purpose. 9, you can't buy that kind of freedom. You have to discover it. And once you do, no amount of money can tempt you back into a life that doesn't fit. Because when you've tasted purpose, anything less feels like slavery. Some of you are stuck in jobs you hate because you've confused provision with purpose. You think that because it pays well, it must be God's will. But just because something provides for you doesn't mean it aligns with your assignment. God doesn't just want to take care of you. He wants to fulfill you. And provision is part of his plan. But it's never the whole point. When you know who you are, when you know what you're here to do, you start moving differently. 9, you start making decisions based on vision, not fear. You stop living for the weekend and start living for the work you were born to do. And that kind of work, it doesn't drain you. It fuels you. It doesn't trap you. It frees you. Let me tell you this. 9, the greatest tragedy in life is not death. It's life without purpose. It's spending 40 years at a job and never discovering your work. It's retiring from a position but never activating your calling. It's climbing the ladder of success only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. You were not born to pay bills and die. You were not born to work for someone else's dream while ignoring the one God placed in you before the foundations of the world. You were not created for routine. You were created for reign. You were not designed to survive. You were born to fulfill. Your job may be temporary. It may change. It may end. But your work, your God-given assignment, will never expire. That's what gives your life meaning. That's what gives your heart peace. That's what sets you free. You are not your title. You are not your salary. You are not your RA Summe. You are the solution to a problem God saw before you ever breathed your first breath. You are the answer someone is praying for. You are the key to a door someone else can't open. So stop asking the world for permission to be who you already are. Stop chasing promotions that don't align with your purpose. Stop living for Friday and start living for why. Because when you discover your work, you won't just make a living, you'll make a difference. And at the end of your life, God will not ask you, what was your job title? He will ask you, did you finish the work I sent you to do? So go discover the gift, unlock the calling. Step out of survival and into significance. Because your job is not your work. Now, and the world is waiting for your work to show up.